Well, my name's Catherine Freilich, and my maiden name was Catherine Marie Bateman. And I am a Arikara Blackfeet. So on my mother's side, I'm Sanish Arikara from White Shield. But on my dad's side, I'm Blackfeet from Montana, Browning. So that's kind of an interesting, I think a lot of us are mixed now these days. You know, a lot of tribal people are mixed. And I know the next generation even more so, you know, as tribes have moved and intermarried. I remember that I went to White Shield in my junior high years after leaving Los Angeles. My mother relocated there when I was 2 years old on a relocation program. So I grew up in LA, but when I was about 9 years old, she wanted to start bringing me back home to meet my family, my extended family, my aunts, my uncles, you know. So we started coming home, and then we moved home when I was 12. So I was at White Shield school during my junior high years. And when I started, you know, the boy-girl interested, you know, getting interested, she said, you know what, there's nobody here that you can marry because everybody's related. So you're gonna have to go to Bismarck High. What a culture shock it was. You know, even though I grew up in LA, it was still a culture shock again to go to a total non-Indian school, you know, where there were probably, in my class of 500, there were probably only 3 Native students here in Bismarck. Now that has changed. Now in Bismarck-Mandan area, there are more Native students than there are on Standing Rock. And a lot of that is because of United Tribes Technical College and just jobs. You know, people have to move to get a job, and so it's growing.
Did you experience some racism?
When I was at Bismarck High, not really. You know, not too much. I think I experienced more when I was in LA. I think I remember that. You know, because the kids would make fun. They thought I was Japanese, or they thought I was Chinese or something, you know. And so when I was in elementary school, I remember kind of experiencing some of that. You know, kids don't realize how cruel they can be, children, you know. And so, but when I was at Bismarck High, I couldn't. But the thing I did experience was, like I said, with the culture shock, was the difference in sense of humor. When I was at White Shield, I mean, we had what I would call Indian humor, you know. We would joke with each other about things, and especially hard times, you know, like getting commodities. You know, we joke about eating canned meat, Spam, you know, and eating commodity cheese. I mean, even today, people joke about commodity cheese. I mean, it was the best, though. It was really good, you know, but we would joke about that. And then when I came to Bismarck High, I almost thought for a period of time that something was wrong with me because I lost my sense of humor because of the circle of friends that I developed. They would laugh at things that I thought, oh, what is funny about that, you know? And then I would say something, and I quit trying to share my sense of humor because it was like they didn't get it, you know? They didn't understand. So even when it comes to sense of humor, it's different. But so anyway, graduated from Bismarck High. Went to University of Mary, and that's kind of interesting how that happened because I was a waitress. I worked throughout my high school, you know, because here my mother's single parent and struggling. I mean, we struggled all our life, whether it was in LA or here. And so I worked in high school at a restaurant as a waitress, went to school, then worked. And when I was a senior, I was here in Bismarck, and just out of the blue, there was a man that walked in, and I waited on him. And he said, oh, you're Native American, aren't you? And I said, yeah. He said, well, which tribe are you from? I said, oh, I'm from White Shield. I'm Arikara. Oh, he said, are you going to college next year? I never even had thought about it. I mean, it didn't even cross my mind, you know. And I said, well, I never really thought about it. And he said, you know what? We've got a program at University of Mary, and you're going to go to college. I said, really? So He set it up, and there were about 34 of us. They had a grant, gotten a new grant for American Indian students. This is when University of Mary was very small. It was predominantly female. And it's nowhere near the way it is now. They just had one building with some housing, limited housing for students. So there were 34 of us that came from around North Dakota that ended up at University of Mary. And to this day, we kind of meet each other at powwows, or we laugh about going there and how they gave us stipends, and they said, we're going to put some money in your bank, and then you can draw on that during this semester, And so Susie Paulson from Whiteshill and I joke, because we say, gee, they didn't realize that none of us had ever had a checking account. None of us had ever done that. So by the first month, we were all broke. So then they had to pull us all together and say, okay, listen, we got to do this differently. Something, we have to do something different. So, but anyway, so that's kind of that story. But I married a man from Standing Rock 44 years ago, and ended up down there all my life. And it was fortunate that, again, being a young mother, and ranching was not near as profitable as it is now, but there was a job at Head Start that opened up, so I got a job there. I finished 2 years at University of Mary, and then got married, and then so then we needed extra money. So with 2 children, so I went and was a teacher aide for Head Start, and after that finished a degree at Sitting Bull College, teacher preparation program, and that was great. If it hadn't been for Sitting Bull College, I probably wouldn't have finished, because it was close. They provided funding, they provided mentoring. Again, we had to go on campus at UND for 3 weeks each semester. We managed, everybody managed to do it, and so that was good. So then I was a classroom teacher for the BIE, it's now BIE, but it was BIA, classroom teacher for 15 years. And then again, there was another opportunity for me to go back to school. And so through University of North Dakota, so I did, and got my master's degree in education. And about that time, changes in education on the reservation, there are just, it's one thing you can always expect, and that's big changes. The contract grant schools started to come about, and so the BIA switched and went to a contract grant school, which meant that everybody had to be RIFed. So all of the staff were RIFed. So we all could reapply, but there were certain conditions, and one of them, of course, was salary. Salary was a big issue. So anyway, several of us left, and at that time, when one door closed, another one opened. Sitting Bull College needed someone to head up their teacher prep program. So I started there, and anyway, I left there after 17 years, and I now work for the MREC. That's a long story it was a lot of years, but just to sum it up. So that's how I ended up at Missouri River Education Cooperative. Needed a change. I was at Sitting Bull for 17 years, department chair, and so now I'm at MREC, and I love it because the focus of my work is culture and language, and that's where my heart has always been. Has always been in the importance of kids knowing who they are and helping. Because I remember being one of those kids in LA, one of those kids at Whiteshill, one of those kids at Bismarck High, and the importance of knowing who you are and the strength that it gives you